Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everyone. We've come to a very special session involving a very distinguished guest speaker, Dr. James T. He's an extremely visionary, capable, and very experienced guy in various types of technology. But today we're going to talk about a very special topic, very close to many of the government's hearts all over the world. That is talking about smart city and urban tech. And in this case, we're specifically talking about AICT for Malaysia. When you hear his vision, when you hear his plans, when you hear about the components of the ecosystem that he's going to build, it is very impressive, not just from a visionary perspective, but from a pragmatic perspective. Dr. James T, are you there? Just to check that you're present.
Yes, Nazri.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Yeah, sorry for the slight delay of bringing you into this discussion, but certainly we'll still have the same time with you to basically go through the various talking points about this AICT in Malaysia. Now it gets everybody excited about what's going to happen in Malaysia, what's going to happen Malaysia as part of ASEAN, as part of the Asian story, right? So before we get into the details of it, right, the details of this AICT that you coined, that you developed, that you are launching, can you tell us first, what's your vision of the first AICT in Malaysia? And what is AICT really all about?
Yeah, I think our vision for the AICT is for it to be a first AI-powered technopolis, right? Where we want to transform intelligent city living through digital technology. I think we are seeing the congruence of technology with what we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think that's probably the first rhyme that a lot of us learn, right, when we are children. A stands for AI, B for blockchain, C for cloud computing, D for big data, and then E stand for Internet of Everything. And you have 5G, FG. So therefore A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So we want to basically give our residents, our Malaysian, and of course, our friends in this region to experience how is it like to live in AI-powered technopolis, right? That's in Kuala Lumpur itself.
Now, Dr. T, you've been featured in various media publications. You've been featured in many high-level interviews, and you've been known in the market. But for those people who do not know you, right? For those of you who's not familiar with what you do, because probably you mix with all the elites, right? Perhaps, and you're a very humble guy. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, about why is this AICT so important to you, and what's your, what are the considerations for you? Is it a nationalistic thing? Is it an economic thing? What's your background that drives you to this venture of yours?
Yeah. I graduated with first class honors degree in mechanical engineering from UTM, and I was privileged and honored to have received a Commonwealth scholarship to study for my PhD in Cambridge University. It was there that I discovered and feel very humbled. There are so many smart people around me, but I have the privilege then to go for interview with McKinsey and Company, and thereafter I joined them in Southeast Asia and work in the US and in this region as well. I think for the past 10 years I have been in the real estate development. I think what we want to do is what I want to do is to do something different. I think today there are lots of projects out there, but I ask myself, how do we differentiate ourselves, right? Today, I think partly because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of things have changed. The way we work, the way we do sales and marketing, the way we live is also very different because of the circumstances. But I think all this has accelerated the adoption of digital technology, especially with the start of 5G, right? The 5G infrastructure is about to be started in Malaysia, right? And for the next few decades, I believe that AI would drive, would drive innovation and all the technologies that I mentioned earlier on will drive innovation to the extent that for whoever or whichever countries they are not really into, digital economy, digital technology, they might be left out. So that is how, the way a lot of things have changed. Today, all right, my children are at home, but right, they do online, learnings, right? They don't go to the classes, but they are online learnings. There's a lot of things. I asked my son, right, what do you want to be when you grow up? Guess what? He wants to be a YouTuber. I said, what do you do being a YouTuber? Right?
Or
so I think,
maybe a TikToker gives more money, right, than YouTuber these days.
yeah, but I think what we want to do, what inspires us is to see how we can really, right, create a totally different experience by putting in technology into the real estate platform, right? So therefore making things simpler. I think if you look at real estate building industry, right, it's the least digitized industry. So therefore there were a lot of things that were done manually. But I think we start to see, partly because of social distancing, because of COVID-19 pandemic, it has driven many enterprises to think about how should they operate. If they are not on the bandwagon of looking at, how to harness the power of technology and also how to adopt AI into the application, they might be left out. So today is not about an option anymore. I think every company should start to think about how can they improve their productivity, how can they gain insights to data analytics, and how all these experiences can transform the way they live, they work, and play.
So you're basically a local guy, a local boy in Malaysia who studied overseas in top universities, mixed with all the smart people. You train as an engineer, you think technology, you bring it back to your country, and you're trying to achieve what every government wants to achieve, or every business for that matter, higher productivity, creating jobs and all that, right? Now, this topic for you, before we get down to the details of it, is very important because in previous tracks, we talk about using AI for good. We talk about AI for purpose. We talk about AI to create impact. We have Samra, we have Jesse, that gives us so many fantastic examples of how AI can be, helping humanity to create impact for society. Now, I want people to give justice to your plan in a sense that how would the humanity factor, right? How would the AI for good get into this AI city vision that you have?
I think if you look at, traditionally, a lot of things are done manually, right? So I think through AI power technology, a lot of things will be simplified. For example, we use a facial recognition technology. We use a license plate recognition technology to do away with, even in car parks operation today, you don't need the vending machine. You don't need the staff to go and top up the dollars and the coins, because everything can be done through e-payment, connected to e-wallet, right? So using our technology, when the car entering into the car park, right, the boom gate will open through the license plate recognition technology. Then, they park the car and then they go to the, security access control, where there's a facial recognition CCTV and camera, right? Typically it's just an apps, right? So through facial recognition, whether it's a visitor or resident, that can be differentiated easily. So we have deployed those technology, and then when you enter your unit, right? So there are different types of experience to the extent that, it becomes touchless economy, right? So I think that there are lots of things that can be done, right? In fact, I think I prepared some slides. I don't know whether there will be opportunity to talk about the slides. Otherwise, I could talk about, the different verticals and the application that we envision can bring about, all right, advancement to the humankind, to the science and technology. But to us, we want to deploy the technology. We may not have invented the technology in Malaysia, but we want to deploy it. We would like it, our AI city to be the test bed, right, and to be a pilot ground, and thereby rolling it out in Malaysia and into this region. But I think, all right, we are also, working with the Malaysian government to also bring in AI technology companies to bring in foreign direct investment and to make Malaysia a high-tech country, a high-tech nation by also creating high-tech jobs. I think that's something very important that we consciously are doing. I think it's about giving back to our country, to our community. I used to be the managing director and CEO of Medini Iskandar Malaysia, whereby part of my job is about job creation, right? Creating the ecosystem for Iskandar Malaysia, especially the CBD, which is Medini Iskandar Malaysia. All right. In addition to the commercial hat that I wear, which is to develop property, to rent property, to sell, to lease, and whatnot, right? So I think today, at this point of time, I would say that it's more than just the dollar and cents, right? It's also about contributing to the society, right? Helping the country to actually create more jobs, in the midst of a lot of unemployment. So we hope through our effort, we do our small little part in helping the economy, in helping our rakyat as well.
Fantastic. Such a noble cause and such a big cause with big impact. We definitely want you to flash your deck to give audience a view of what your vision is for this AICT. Along the way, we could ask more questions either online or verbally. Yeah. So
sure.
Perhaps Dr. T, if you can control the slides at your end, or you want us to control at our end?
Yeah, can you control at your end?
Okay, admin, can you please flash? So we are very excited to see this. That's why we have to show this for the benefit of the audience about your vision for this AICT. Go ahead, Dr. T.
Yeah, I think when we think of the AICT, right? If you read the title of our city, it's called MyFinB City, right? MyFinB actually stands for Malaysia Industrial Revolution through Artificial Intelligence. Now, in Japanese and also Korean language, MyFinB is 未来, that means future. So it actually means future city, right? So where innovation would be adopted, innovation would be commercialized, right? So if you go to the next page, right, we have sign up collaboration with SenseTime. SenseTime is one of the world's largest AI company with a very high number of patents. They are probably in the top 3 in the world in terms of AI patents they filed, right, globally. And we also partner with China Harbor. Together with G3, we're bringing in over $1 billion investment to create AI city in Malaysia. If you go to the next page, the proposed location, for this project is actually in Bukit Jalil, right? It's in Phase 3 Technology Park, Malaysia, whereby it's just across the road, probably about 30 meters away from Pavilion Bukit Jalil, the 1.8 million square feet regional shopping mall, right? So whereby, you'll be connected via underpass or overhead bridge to the entire site. Now, the beauty of this site is that, there are 2 highways that are directly linked to this. So we will create direct interchange in and out from 2 highways. Together with this also, we'll make this into a TOD development, transit-oriented development, whereby you'll be connected to one of the LRT station. Actually, in total, within a 5-kilometer radius, there are 5 LRT, 4 LRT and 1 MRT station, altogether 5 train stations nearby, and there are 4 major highways within a very near distance, right? Now, this slide shows the existing site condition, whereby land, earth has been cleared, and as you can see, right, there is directly fronting. So we have quite a long main road highway frontage land, to the highway, which will be very good for those projects requiring highway frontage. I think this is a very good opportunity for us from the private sector to work together with the local and the federal government to really promote artificial intelligence as per, the strategic plan for Malaysia, as well as, under the national AI framework to really help to transform Malaysia. And for us, our role here, we like to think that, we will help Malaysia as well to transform intelligent city living. Now, I think if you look at it, where we are going to focus on in our AI city would be along 6 verticals, right? Number 1 would be in the area of smart mobility, whereby we like to connect with B2Bs, with enterprises who like to partner with us in the areas of autonomous vehicles, in the area of electric vehicles, and in the area number 3 in terms of e-bikes and e-scooters. In fact, within the group ourselves, we have recently acquired a stake in Aeon Mobility that will be, expanding their manufacturing into Malaysia. And lastly, will be ride hailing and ride sharing, right? Now, the second verticals we'll be looking at would be smart logistics. Now, this is a very prominent site, right? With over 300 acres with a Kuala Lumpur address. This is indeed very rare type of greenfield development. So given the strategic location to Kuala Lumpur city center, right, I think this is where the opportunity to also use this for supply chain 4.0, as well as, last mile connectivity that we'll be looking at, right, for higher end supply chain warehousing distribution hub within the industrial zone of our AI city development. Now, the third area that we will look at is basically in the area of AI hospital, in addition to using AI for diagnostic purposes, whether it's for cancer diagnostic or orthopedic and various type of treatment. We hope to be able to partner with innovative and AI-driven hospital to collaborate with us to set up this AI hospital in our AI city, as well as the early stage diagnostic and treatment center within AI city. Now, the fourth area, as you would imagine, would be in the area of smart city, whereby we'll be, deploying, and we hope to partner with different technology company to bring in, right, traffic management, surveillance, crime prevention, smart city management, and of course, within the home itself will be smart homes, right? And obviously, while we are partnering with SenseTime, those technology that do not, that is not available will be, we'll be very happy to partner with other players as well. All right, and the next area is in the area of smart manufacturing, whereby we'll be looking at robotics. We'll be looking at those AI-driven application for the semiconductor, as well as smart devices area. Then the last area will be in the AI education, where we hope to set up AI university or academy, as well as looking at harnessing the power of education technology, edutech, right? And we have identified some of the the B2B opportunity. I think through this interaction, we hope we are able to also connect the dots with those players, right? Or those experts out there who will be willing to work with us. I believe this is a great and a grand platform to demonstrate, to showcase, to test bed the application that you all have developed. So if you go to the next page, we have also make some statement, as Nazri say, that hyperscale data center will be one of the key catalysts to jumpstart our AI city development. In fact, maybe I would say to our surprise, we received overwhelming response from both global players, right? Whether they are global data center operator, whether they are real estate developers or they are consultants. There's so many interested parties have come forward wanting to work with us, and we are very excited looking at how we could partner with them. And through this data center as well, we'll be working with the Malaysian government and and the relevant authority for sandbox and attracting strategic international technology company to invest into our AI city and invest into the country. Next slide, please. I think so besides data center, there'll be what we call AI residences. I asked my architect, right, how would AI AI homes look like? I think this is a challenge for them, it's a challenge for us, but we certainly look forward to be able to partner with various enterprises who are able to bring forward their innovative solution, right, allowing us to our city development to be the test bed. And of course, we are also looking at proven technology to bring about conveniences. I think in addition to that, we will bring in AI, PropTech, and FinTech solutions into the AI city development in-house. We have some of our keeper, home keeper, park keeper, based solutions. But I think I'm sure there are a lot more other solutions and that we can actually bring into Asia, into Malaysia, into our AI city, so that we can deploy that and we can commercialize that and make it a success. And obviously, once we have tested with the formula, we also like to replicate this in other parts of the country, as well as doing this AI city in other parts of the world. So would be happy to discuss on any opportunity for collaboration. I think there's some more slides, right?
I think that's the last slide actually.
Oh, that's the last slide. Okay, yeah. So I think in a nutshell, right? I think there are two key themes here, right? Number one is the hyperscale data center. Number two is the AI city. Right, and internally we also have other projects on Asia Semiconductor Hub. So I won't talk about that today, but I think it's all interrelated when we talk about semiconductor, AI, and the technology that I explained earlier on. So I think Nazri, perhaps I just stopped here.
I've got questions for you on the wonderful presentations that you've done for the benefit of the viewers. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Please go ahead.
We still have some time. So we talk about purpose, we talk about AI for good earlier on. And how do you think this AI city would catalyze the economy in Malaysia in more specific terms? How do you foresee this help to prop up the very, very tough economy in Malaysia right now, especially with regards to unemployment? Could you give us more specific examples and impact on that?
Yeah, certainly. I think number one is that, we are the bulk, right? I would say about 80–90% of development are going towards the commercial activities, right? So, for example, I mean, the first thing that we're going to do is basically hyperscale data center. And certainly that will bring in investment, that will create jobs, right? I think you know that real estate industry, right, will have a multiplying effect to about probably 140 other downstream activities. So yeah, I have written a book on what I call on value creation strategies, right? It's a bestseller, in the market. You can find it in Singapore, Kinokuniya as well. So I think, but that is not the forum here. But what I'm saying is that it has multiplying effect. It will create jobs, and because of the hyperscale data center, I think you also know that we're going to do AI hospital, AI university, and also being on the mobility side. I think today, right, the new class of asset, right? I mean, what do I call new class of asset? Data center, high quality data center, high quality logistic distribution, fulfillment hub, technology park, modern technology park. Those are the considered high quality or so-called new assets that are coming into the market. So I think, gone are the days, that just the bread and butter, double-story home, double-story shop. I think we are looking at creating the value through enterprises. By doing that, the job creation, economic growth will come along.
And when you talk about the impact, right, again, roughly how many employment can be provided? How many spaces for employment can be offered to the locals versus foreign? What's your
we have not done a formal assessment yet. But for what we can see, you know, at a minimum will be 50,000 to about 100,000 jobs. We are in the midst of doing the business plan estimation and all those things, but our initial estimate will be between 50 to 100,000 new jobs creation.
Right, and how would the hyperscale data center hub benefit the SMEs as supporting industries?
I think for a start, right, because of the hyperscale data center, right, of course from, you know, like say there are 140 downstream, downstream activity to other related industry. Number one is in the construction area, right? Number two is, you know, from all the way from the contractors, suppliers, and then the raw material side, and then after that, from the property maintenance, property management. So there are many factors, you know, I won't go through the details one by one, but suffice to say is that, right, some of these services are also provided by SMEs, right? I think, you know, I think if you look at the country, probably there's a large chunk of the businesses are probably 2/3 of the enterprises are actually comprising of SMEs, right? If I get it correct, at least half of it, right? Right, if I get it correct. And I believe that, you know, certainly, you know, the SME will certainly benefit from it through the products and the services and also the solution that, you know, that we require.
And when you talk about the service providers and the recipients or beneficiaries of AICT, right? So there is the supplier side of services, and there's a recipient side, the demand and supply within AICT.
Yeah.
What sort of criteria do you look for when you want to invite the stakeholders into your city?
I think, you know, there's no fixed set and rule. It depends on where we are looking at. But I think number one, we want to, you know, create a differentiated AICT. So therefore, we have to see what kind of contribution from the partner, right? In addition to the contribution that we can put on the table. And number two, right, we have to align this with the government, what the government hope to see as well. Because at the end of the day, we want to also, you know, partner with government to bring in the relevant high-tech industry that the government are also promoting as well. And then number three is, you know, to look at, you know, how we can work together, you know, the culture, the vision and the values, right? Because I think when we look at partnership, we typically are looking at long-term partnership. So therefore, there must be some kind of alignment in terms of vision, in terms of values, objective, you know, and therefore allowing the partnership to grow long-term. And you know, because we are not doing just a development, we are building a city, right? So we are talking about 15, 20 years. So we are really looking at capable, you know, parties, suppliers that can, you know, that can help us, that can, you know, grow with us, that can, you know, also, you know, bring in their connection and help us to connect the dots. Because I believe that, you know, given that we are first AI city in Malaysia and probably in to a certain extent, in certain aspect, probably first in part of this world as well. So therefore, there are a lot of things that are continuous improvement. There are continuous technology breakthrough and advancement. So therefore, we want to be able to partner with those innovative company that continue want to improve the technology and that benefit the you know, the society, that, you know, benefit, you know, the consumer as well. Because at the end of the day, I think we are as good at what the consumer or customer say we are, right? So we want to make sure that, you know, at the end of the day, customer experience and customer get the value and they enjoy a good experience. And that, you know, we like to be seen as doing a good job for them.
Fantastic, Dr. T. Now, let me ask you a very personal question. So AICT offers a lot of AI solutions or AI-driven applications, right? AI-driven themes. If there's going to be one technology that you are most excited about, that you're most looking forward about, that you put your last bet, you know, your last penny, okay, for this solution, what would it be?
Well, imagine, right, autonomous drone. You're flying in the autonomous drone can be quite scary, but it can be very exciting as well. I think that is something that, you know, when we look at our development, we have a landing station for, you know, for drone, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, ready, right? And also, you know, for drone delivery of our goods, right? Of course, we cannot have too many of this in each building, but we hope to incorporate that kind of thing. And of course, autonomous vehicles, right? I think don't talk about fly, if you're autonomous vehicle in Malaysia, right? The first one to pilot it, to test bed it, that is equally exciting before we talk about flying autonomous drone.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Dr. James T, for sharing in the last 45 minutes or so your vision, your personal background, right? Your drive and your passion for building this AI city. It's a long-term play. Like you said, it's a 10, 15, 20 years even. And it has to be done through a lot of public-private partnerships structures, right? To take this forward in a collaborative manner. So before we end the session, we like you to have a last word on this event, on this particular session of yours. What kind of message you want to give to governments and investors as a final word to this AICT?
Come and come together. Let's together make this a better world. Come and join us, partner with us, help us to connect the dots, right? I think you probably know who are the expert, what type of technology that we should, you know, consider and also deploy in our AI city. So we like to invite you to be part of our AI city and be part of the team to create history for Malaysia and for the world as well. So you know, do consider us when you are trying to deploy or, you know, or commercialize the technology. Welcome.
Thank you. Well said, Dr. James. And just for information, he was invited to this event in less than 2 weeks, less than a week or so. And thanks for putting up a very impressive deck and setting aside your time to share with us the efforts that go behind AICT. And thanks for agreeing for this. And we look forward to collaboration with you. And we'll be happy to rally the participants and the speakers and the panel of experts in the entire AI World Summit, you know, to see whether they can contribute in terms of knowledge, in terms of how their knowledge is being applied to the verticals, and even more. For all you know, there could be more verticals that you know that can be thought of and applied because of the competencies of some of these players. But this is something that what this AI World Summit is all about, is to bring all the innovators and disruptors together and coupled with the visionaries that they bring along. So thank you so much, Dr. T. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to seeing you even next year for such an event. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nazri.
Thank you.
Thank you.